So tell me, how is there a wild cactus on the High Line in Montana? As Mother Maybelle, June, and I drove into Montana, the prairie turned golden, and the world went top-heavy. The sky seemed to push down on the edges of the world as if we could see the curve of this globe we live on. We had unknowingly stumbled into the Golden Triangle, where the dry climate and hot winds produced the perfect growing climate for grains. Evidently, Montana grows a lot of wheat here. But the wheat is only echoing what was already here. The native grasses and ground covers provide the backdrop, and the world turns a beautiful shade of gold. This back road is taking us to Bowdoin National Wildlife Refuge, precious marshland in the midst of dry wheat country. Bowdoin lies within what's called the Central Flyway, a major waterfowl migration corridor that stretches between Canada and Mexico. But our first wildlife encounter was not geese, gulls, or pelicans. It was a pronghorn. It crossed the road right in front of me. Thankfully, it stopped to graze for a bit so I could capture this footage. I'm still ecstatic over this sighting. I'd never ever seen one before and had to look him up to identify him. Our plan for Bowdoin was to do the auto tour, which circles the lake with lots of viewing points and pullouts. If you go, be sure to get the brochure so you can read about each of the numbered stops and what you might see. So tell me, how is there a wild cactus on the High Line in Montana? Also, this is my first wild cactus I've ever seen in my life. The highlight for me, though, was June. She perched herself against the door and watched intently as every sight went by. For most of this trip, if we're driving, June is curled up against my leg or sleeping between the front seats. Occasionally she'd peek out the window, but it just all seemed to go by too fast for her. But this was slow, and the road was gentle, and June seemed to soak in every minute of it. I think this is a juvenile ring-billed gull. I just love the spots and the coloring. Google and AI weren't much help. They recommended American herring over ring-billed, but when I checked the bird species listed by Bowdoin, ring-billed seems most likely. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm headed out to a wildlife refuge this morning, hoping to find a good spot where I can park Mother Maybelle and work for the day. This is a gravel road going out to it, so that's promising. Shows going straight, but can you see? There's a sign down there that says road closed. Well, I guess try very pretty cemetery that I parked in yesterday for the evening. Lots of shade, very peaceful. So I guess we will go back there and take advantage of that shade for the day. This is a very typical situation for van life, in that you make plans to do something and you just have to be very flexible and have lots of room and space, both mentally and time-wise, for changing plans. Otherwise, it's going to be very, very stressful, because when you're in an area that you don't know, it takes quite a bit of time to find suitable places to park. Because typically, if it's warm weather, you definitely are going to need shade. You need a good cell signal if you're reliant on that. And it also needs to be a place that is okay with you parking there for the day. So when I get to a new place, I like to check out the local parks. I've rarely found one that allows overnight parking, but they're a good place for parking during the day if the parking has any shade. Again, cemeteries are good during the day. I've not done overnight parking in one. I don't know that I would want to, but I've not found any that would even allow it. If you're in a town that has on-street parking with a lot of shade, if you can find some low-traffic streets, that can be a nice place to park and even stay overnight. And then any business public parking, if they have shade, is a good spot. The only ones that allow overnight parking that I'm familiar with are some Walmarts, Cracker Barrels, I think Cabela's, and I think there's a camping supply store. Can't think of the name right now. So I'll ask you, what kind of places do you look for when you're entering a new area and you're looking for some place to spend the day and want to find shade? And then Montana turned green. The roads angled up and the mountains were on the horizon. U.S. Highway 2, known as the High Line in Montana, was taking me straight into the Rocky Mountains in Glacier National Park. High Line seemed a fitting name as we climbed higher and higher. I didn't go into Glacier National Park as the crowds were high and my energy was low. It was a $35 one-day fee, and I just didn't think I would get the value out of it. Plus, I've found that national parks are often surrounded by national forests, that offer equally wonderful sights and experiences, all for free. Glacier National Park's Goat Lick Overlook was a fun stop. There was a mother mountain goat and baby perched on the almost vertical riverbank, getting their mineral intake for the day. From the interpretive sign, each spring mountain goats from the high country travel to this band of rocks exposed along the middle fork of the Flathead River. The goats appear drawn to the salts and minerals: calcium, potassium, magnesium, sodium, and phosphorus, found in these eroding cliffs. Researchers speculate that when goats shift to succulent green vegetation each spring, their chemical balance is altered, causing them to seek the nutrients found at the Goat Lick. Goats use this lick most heavily in May and June, although they can often be found here from April through August. We camped for the night in Flathead National Forest. It was breathtaking. If there had been cell service, I would have stayed there more than one night. Sights like this make me wish I had Starlink. Just look at how far I've come. I'm going to have to move the embroidery hoop. Can you do me a favor? Click the subscribe button below, hit that thumbs up, and share us with a friend. It'll really help the algorithm, and it'll help our channel grow. Thank you, and see you down the road.